Braunton was settling down well in the Stovall Valley. He'd been covering for Stan, who was nearly ready to come out of the workshop. Under closer inspection, it had been found that Stan's rear-wheel driving set had been cracked, so once his injectors were sorted, he had to wait for a new wheel set. Braunton was coping well with the loads, but the problem now was the fact that goods traffic was getting up, and it was clear that the 3 engines that were available didn't have enough time between other commitments to take these services. As a result, the Stobra industrial estate was a mess. Under Braunton and Stan's advice, an LMS diesel shunter had been hired to work the industrial estate, and he was just about keeping things in order. But it was commonly agreed that another engine was needed to actually shift the trains around. Therefore, it fell to Lord Stovall and the managing directors to hand out a good, mixed traffic loco. Lord Stovall took his search to Wales, where he had friends, who were head of a railway in the valleys, and through the coalfields. The Aberdyfi and Pentwyn Railway was quite a successful railway, and was part of the Western region. Lord Stovall saw all kinds of locomotives, from hauls to taffy tanks. One engine caught his eye the most. A manor whom was shuttling services between Aberdyfi and Mynydd Newydd. In between, however, he was taking short goods services up and down the line. One day, Lord Stovall caught him at Aberdyfi town station. "Hello there." "Hello there, sir. You seem vaguely familiar. Have I seen you before somewhere?" "I was working on the SVR a little while ago, when the trouble with the hall was around." "Ah yes, I remember. You were the engine that did sterling work for me whilst my Q1 was being repainted. I see that you put as much pride into your work here as you did on my line. I always say that a job isn't done until it's done properly. Any engine can pull a train, but to pull one on time, with style and comfort for the passengers, is a sign of a true worker. I like that attitude. You'll be perfect." "Perfect for what?" "Running on my line. The board of directors and I are very impressed with you, and would like you to come and help us run our expanding freight services." "Freight services are my speciality, sir. I'd be more than happy to come and help you." "Excellent. Now, what do I call you?" "Well, a lot of people call me Earl, but others have taken to call me Stokey." "Well, I'm sure my engines will be calling you Stokey, but I will refer to you as Earl." "Okay, sir. When do I start?" "In 2 days' time. You'll be meeting me and the rest of the fleet at Stobra Sheds." "Okay, sir. See you then." Lord Stovall smiled and walked away. 2 days later, Lord Stovall gathered all the engines at Stobra Sheds. Stan had been shunted into the shed by Jack and was looking very disgruntled. "I hope this is important." "I expect so. Not like we've been brought all together before for petty reasons."
"As usual, we'll be here for 10 minutes, and then we'll be off. It's fine."
"He's got a point, you know. It's never really that important." Just then, a whistle sounded from the yard entrance. Earl was backing into the sheds. "Hey up, it's Stokey. What you doing back here?" "He's here to join the fleet." Earl stopped and Lord Stovall climbed down from his footplate. "You'll all recognise Earl from his work here not so long ago. The only engines you won't know are Braunton and Jack."
"Hey there, Earl."
"Just call him Stokey." "Hi there." "Hello, nice to meet you." Now, as you know, there isn't enough of you to keep the growing goods services at bay, therefore Earl is here to take the extra goods traffic. I've seen his work on the Aberdyfi and Pentwyn Railway in Wales, and I think myself and the directors made the best choice. "Damn right, it's about time we had another Great Western loco around here. Welcome back." "Hear, hear." "Stuart, how nice it is to see you again. Mail services are going well, I trust." "Oh yes, very well, thank you." "Brilliant. And you're keeping yourself well, I trust, Dan?" "Well as could be expected." "Right then, it's time everyone got back to work. Jack, shunt Stan back into the workshop and go help arrange Earl's service. The rest of you know what you're doing." With that, the engines departed for their different jobs. By the time Jack had returned to the industrial estate, Earl was already waiting in the sidings. "Hello, right, give me a sec. I'll get the empty china clay wagons. They need to be taken away to Retford, where another engine will take them off your hands. He should have already brought the loaded back with him, so it should be a case of swapsies. Bring the loaded back and put them in the holding siding over there. Once you're back, there'll be a short goods train for Revborough. If you leave it in the station and wait in the shed, Dan will take it out of your way, and you'll be able to come back in time for the permanent way train later on." Earl looked confused, but after Jack had explained once again, he understood and took away the first train. He puffed along the line all morning, greeting all the engines as he passed. He pulled into Revborough a little later on, where Dan was waiting for him. "Oh, hello, Earl." "Hi, Dan. I've been told you'll be dealing with this." "Oh, yes. If I move out of the way, you can come in here, then I'll move the goods train out of the way and you can return to Stobra." So they did just that, and once Earl was free, he departed whistling his farewell to Dan, who shunted the wagons around. Earl returned to Stowborough, where he was met by Stuart. "Right, you and me have got this permanent way train to take up to Wantage. They're fixing the track up there. Want to go at the front?" "Oh, sure." The two engines coupled up to the train and they departed. They worked well together. Stuart pushed with his abundance of power, which helped Earl to gain some speed to keep the heavy load going. They were soon rolling down the hill to Wantage, where they stopped and waited. Workmen made a block on the track in front and behind them and got to work. Single line running commenced from then on. Vaughan stopped at Wantage Station on his passenger service and chatted to Earl quickly before blasting off up the line. A little later on, Braunton raced past on the Sowell Flyer. Soon the work was done and Stuart dragged the train back up the incline with Earl pushing from behind. They arrived in the marshalling yards where they uncoupled and let Jack marshal the train back into its siding. They backed into the sheds where Stan was sat. His new wheel set was now attached. "Here they are, the Weston brothers."
Yeah, they'll be inseparable. They seem to work pretty well together today. Makes you wonder why Lord Lavelle didn't buy Earl earlier.
The two engines smiled. Jack returned from the shunting. "I'll tell you another thing, Earl is the best out of all of you for taking goods trains, no fuss at all." "Since when have any of us complained about hauling goods trains? The only who doesn't haul good trains is Braunton, and that's only because he's busy on the passenger services." "Does that really matter?" "All that matters really is the fact that Earl, as we all knew he would, has become a valued member of the fleet, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of him in the future. The two Western engines are a match for anyone on this line." The two Western engines smiled at each other. Earl knew he'd found his forte, and he was going to stick to it as long as possible.